Were the 76ers robbed?
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Monopoly Go. I admit it, I have a competitive side, and it is a big fan of Monopoly Go, the mobile hit twist on classic Monopoly. So join your friends and download Monopoly Go, now free on the App Store or Google Play. So my name is Keith Pompey. I'm one of the co-hosts of Locked On 76ers. So is my right-hand man, John Mitchell. So
What's up, fellas?
what's up? So here's the deal, Mitch. We got three things to talk about. Were the Sixers robbed? Right?
Absolutely.
Okay. You think they were. And then the second thing is Joel Embiid. I mean, I give my man props. He had 34 points. He had 10 rebounds. The problem is he only scored 5 points in the fourth quarter and 0 rebounds in the fourth quarter when his team needed him the most. Brother man got to step up. So we got to talk about that. And then the third thing is it looks kind of bleak for the Sixers. Can they come back? You think they can? So we'll talk about that. All right. But let me ask you, bro, like you saw what happened. So let's say, let me just give the people who didn't see the game. The Sixers are up. It's kind of like, well, basically the Sixers blew they were outscored. What was it? 20 seconds, 8-0 in 27 seconds. So here's the deal. The Sixers were up 47 seconds left. Nick Nurse is trying to call a timeout while they inbounds the ball underneath the Knicks basket. Kyle Lowry throws the ball in, but Nick doesn't even look like he's not real. He's just like this. Yeah, he's not like real. Yeah, demonstrative. Yeah, he's just not like real in that. So Kyle throws the ball in. I don't know if it was a bad pass or somebody hit it, but all I know is Maxey had to go get it. Next thing you know, he loses the ball. He goes down on the ground. Then next thing you know, Josh Hart just takes it. But did he get fouled? What happened? The whole nine, like nobody knows. It looked like he got fouled, but it also looked like he lost the ball. But by the time Nick did try to call a timeout, the ball was already in DiVincenzo's hand, right? And then DiVincenzo misses a three. He Isaiah Hartenstein grabs the offensive rebound and passes it back out to him. 3. They go up 1, right? So, Nick Nurse was complaining because he says that he called 2 timeouts and the official didn't give him either one. And B, Joel Embiid is upset because he said Tyrese Maxey was getting mauled or getting fouled down there and nothing happened. The Sixers go ahead and file a grievance with the NBA over that. They don't like the way the games 1 and 2 were officiated down the stretch and a lot of things. So they have problems. Now, again, what's going to come of this? Nothing, but they're going to get people's eyes on looking on things. Now, do you feel like they were robbed?
Well, you have to ignite. Somebody has to see Nick Nurse on the sidelines waiting for that timeout. I mean, he wasn't. I don't know what people with referees expect Nick Nurse to do. They expect him to pour kerosene on himself and run out on the court and pull his pants down and call for a timeout. I mean, I don't know what he is supposed to do to get their attention. Now, I do recognize that one ref did what he was supposed to do. He ran down court to set up. So, if I'm Nick Nurse in that situation, I run out on the court. I do something hyper excessive, and I run out on the court, man. You have to get that timeout, but they have to. I mean, listen, these referees inject themselves into the game for unnecessary reasons all the time. We spent this entire season watching these fools do, just inserting themselves in the action when they don't need to be a part of action. Now, here you are in the playoffs. Here you are in the show pony section of the season, and you're not paying attention to a coach who's calling for a timeout. Now, granted, the 76ers, it's that chaos that ensued should have never happened. I mean, on that inbounds pass, I'm saying, hey, your best free throw shooter is Joel. Get him down there, get the ball, get it right out of Kyle's hands, and make them foul you and go to the line and put the game away. That's what I'm thinking. But do they have an argument that they were robbed? Well, that's what this is. Human error is involved in these games, and unfortunately, humans make mistakes. I take the approach that Tyrese Maxey is taking. We got to put it behind us. We got 48 minutes to prepare, to get this series to 2-1. You don't get the series 2-1, you can mail it in. You can kiss it goodbye. So were they robbed? The refs just weren't doing their jobs, man. They were sleeping. They were sleeping at the wheel. And it's interesting. I saw LeBron. LeBron during the Lakers post-game presser was like, he said he referred to the Sixers game, and he said, what are we doing? What are the referees doing? What are they doing? In the replay booth. And he deliberately pointed to that. So LeBron saw the timeout from Denver. You know what I mean? So they didn't get robbed. I think they got robbed. But the reality is that they're down 2-0. The reality of it is they're going to file a grievance. The reality of that grievance is just not going to bring any change. And they just have to move. They have to move past it.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. It should have been called. But the thing is, it's tough, though. The one thing that the grievance had is they're complaining about games both times.
Nah, you got clobbered on the boards in game one. Leave game one alone.
But here's the problem too with the game two when you want to cut. They were doing a great job against them on the boards.
Yep.
Until the last little bit, and then they just
started mad at most.
They're mad at the most, and then they just disappeared. I mean, like Harkenstein, this and that, and then no offense, but you don't inbounds the ball when the coach is trying to call a timeout.
That's a good point.
I mean, but what?
But in the bedlam that was the Garden, the three dudes who have to see that didn't.
That's what I'm saying. Well, they didn't, but my thing is, it also, you can look at it both ways, two ways. When the games get that close, you say we don't want the refs involved blowing the whistle.
We take them, so we handle our business, right?
We handle our business.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, they just look like they was getting muscled up, man. At that, it looked like that. I mean, they was howling, they was doing hot true, right? They was backing them up. But it looked like they wanted it a little bit more than the Sixers when it came down to it.
Man, I think the Sixers wanted it. I mean, they battled back after a bad third quarter. They battled back in the fourth quarter with getting very little from Joel, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in the next segment. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the refs, man. The refs, them guys, man. They prance up and down the court all season long, and they inject themselves for ridiculous reasons at times. But last night, you got to see the head coach. You got to be paying attention to the head coach. And in a situation like that, you have to speculate that maybe he is going to call. That's got to be part of your pedagogy as a ref. You have to be wondering, is he going to call this timeout? And they didn't see it, but the 76ers didn't do enough to take the human failings out of the game. And look, y'all were the ones who bought the Knicks were desperate, and their desperation proved to be an asset. And so the bottom line is they're 2-0. They're 2-0. They're 0-2. They're down 0-2.
Yeah, that's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. They got
Bottom
to
line, man. They can lodge complaints. They can do everything they want. but let's talk about Prize Picks for a minute. Prize Picks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 3 million members. It is the easiest and most exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. You just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats and watch the winnings roll in. So get in on the playoff action and win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks as you and the world's best players take the game to a new level during basketball postseason. And you can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000. That would be nice after a night like last night the 76ers had with basketball, hockey, college basketball. Entries today. Put your entries in today on Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. So download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, Locked On NBA for a first deposit match up to $100.
do it today, folks. Definitely
Do it today. So listen, are you watching Fox Sports on ESPN on your TV all day? Or you need to get a life. Have to turn down the volume with all that shouting? Make the switch to Locked On Sports today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel program for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. There's going to be a lot of screaming today on ESPN. Locked On Sports today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV Channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every single solitary day.
Now, look, Mitch, here's the deal, bro. So, Joel, here's the thing. It's kind of hard. Like, when we look at Joel play, right? You look at it in one say and you say, look, man, the guy is out there playing on one leg, whatnot, this and that, but he's out there playing.
He out there Willis Reed and then Willis Reed's building.
He out there Willis Reed, right? But the thing is, they made some mistakes and the refs got into it. Made some calls. But Joel was balling early on. Now, here's the problem I had, and I feel like he needs to step up. Joel had 34 points. He had 10 rebounds. He had 6 assists. He had 1 block, right? He shot 12 for 29 from the field. Right? He was 8 for 12 from the foul. That's the first time I saw the dude miss 2 back-to-back foul shots, bro. Now, here's the problem. Now, I'm just going to say this. His shooting 12 for 29. This was the 9th consecutive playoff game that he shot below 50%.
It's a good stat.
So now here's the deal. So through Joel, of his 10 rebounds, 8 of them came in the first quarter. Well, he had 1 in the second quarter, 1 in the third quarter. He had 0 rebounds in the fourth quarter when the game was like tight, right? In the fourth quarter, the Sixers were out. It was tied 9-9, but the Sixers were out rebounded an offensive 4-1. Tobias Harris had the 1 offensive rebound. Now, in the fourth quarter,
I didn't know Tobias played last night.
Oh, so in the fourth quarter, now this is the crazy part. So the Sixers had, this ain't good, man. So the Sixers had 16 shot attempts. Tyrese Maxey went 5 for 7. Joel Embiid went 2 for 6. Kelly Oubre made his lone shot attempt. Kyle Lowry made his lone shot attempt. And Batum missed his. So it was all about, so of the 16 shot attempts, Maxey and Embiid shots 13 of
Which quarter was this?
the fourth.
It's the
This
fourth.
is the fourth quarter. While Maxey was baking 5 for 7, he did miss that bunny at the end, the layup at the end. Joel Embiid was 2 for 6 from the field in the fourth quarter. And he was 0 for 3 in turnovers. 0 for 3 in 3-point shooting.
Yeah.
Him and Maxey were the only player. Him, Maxey, and Batum were the only three to play the whole fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm here to tell you, I like Joel. I know he's playing with a bum knee, but if he would have shot better, if played better in the fourth quarter, grabbed 3 rebounds or something, they probably would have won the game. If he'd have made some of those shots, they would have won the game.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% blaming it on him.
No, you can't.
He gotta play better, dude.
Yeah, he's got. It's all about with Joel. It's all about big moments. It's when he's faced with these huge moments, he does have to play better. But I can't. And I hear you. And he did fade to black in that fourth quarter. You got to grab more than 2 rebounds. You're the biggest man in the NBA for all intents and purposes. Well, girth wise and height wise, you got to do better. But I got pushed back a little bit, Keith. Man, I think we've had some. Buddy Hield has turned into Duddy Hield lately, man. Buddy has played. He's played, and I know you're specifically looking at the fourth quarter, but Buddy Hield's played 26 minutes in this series, and he's given him 2 points. This was the big trade deadline acquisition. Tobias had 10 points in intermission. He finished with 10 points. And granted, I will give Tobias props for being on the boards last night. He did, in that regard, he did what he did. But you've got to score. He's played 31 minutes and 41 minutes respectively in these 2 games, and he's only got 17 points to show for it. Kelly Oubre, he's been playing great defense on Brunson, but this is a guy who's averaging that 16, 19 points like over the last 20 games or something like that. He's averaging 7 points so far. It's just. But I hear you about Joel, but the Knicks are winning this series, number one, because they drubbed them. They bum rushed them on the boards in game 1. And in game 2, when it mattered most, in desperation, they responded. But yeah, Joel does, that stat you point out of him shooting below 50% in like 9 consecutive games, that's alarming to me. I did not know that. And that just can't be allowed to stand, man. Here's
the problem. I understand what you're saying. Like, I understand what you're saying in regards to Tobias not getting the shot. Not doing anything. Kelly and them not doing anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
I understand that 100%, right?
Is that on Nick Nurse?
It's easy to say that, right? But when we look at it in the fourth quarter, Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey attempted 81% of their shot attempts. It was a 2-man game. Yeah. This year, they saying that everything is about 2-man games and you got to get in where you fit in. Now, and so my question is, so Kelly Oubre, he had in that fourth quarter, Kelly Oubre had 2 blocks. Tobias Harris had 3 rebounds, 1 offensive, right? You know what I mean? Like you can look at Maxey. Maxey scored 15 points, but he had 3 turnovers in that quarter. So my thing is, we're talking about 81% of the offense. So is that other guys not shooting, or is that them 2 taking over?
Ball hogs.
And yeah, like honestly, like what is it? You know what I'm saying? Like what is it?
Well, that's where this falls. If Doc had lost that, if Doc would have coached the 76ers last night, we would be talking about only Doc. I wouldn't be saying that, but the fan base would be saying only Doc could have a 5-point lead with 30 seconds left and blow and give up eight unanswered points in the last 30 seconds. It would be all about Doc. So let's put the spotlight on Nick Nurse a little bit right now.
Yeah.
Nick Nurse has to orchestrate between his top two players and the ancillary players, and the ancillary players have to give you more. But you're right, Joel Embiid, man, and he promised. He issued an ultimatum that we will indeed win this series. So, stand by. We're going to see if that will indeed come to fruition. But right now, I want to talk about BetterHelp. Sometimes we all need the opportunity to get something off of our chest. Big or small, certain things can really start to get to you. It's important to let that out, especially to someone who's unbiased on your life. So today, I want to say how I really feel about something. You might be thinking about the same thing this week. Now, I'm a little bit bummed out by the 76ers losing that game last night because they literally snatched defeat from the pit bull-like jaws of victory. So, but there are more important things going on in life. You have highs and lows, ups and downs in your life. And there are times when you really need to talk about something very serious to somebody who will be an unbiased listener. Therapy can be different for everyone. Most of us have bigger problems in our favorite sports teams, and it's important to get things off your chest every once in a while. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be flexible and suited to your schedule. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA. And now let's talk about Monopoly Go. We've all been there, either as a player or a fan. It's halftime and the scoreboard is not looking good. You're feeling low, not sure you or your team can pull out a win. That's when you dig deep, lift your head up, and say to yourself, time to get back in the game, pull off some bank heists, and take as much of my friend's money as I possibly can. That's right. The smash hit mobile game, Monopoly Go, lets you compete with your friends to get the most riches and the biggest empire. It's the Monopoly you love, but on your phone anytime with tons of new twists, including leaderboards to compare your progress to your buddies. There's so much to do. Play on countless dynamic Monopoly boards. Make your friends bankrupt by smashing their landmarks with a wrecking ball. Charge other players rent for your iconic properties. You can even work with your friends to crack open community chests and in tournaments to get extra rewards and climb the leaderboard. So get back out there, put on your game face, and download Monopoly Go, now free on the App Store or Google Play. Do that immediately.
Do it today, people. Definitely do it today. Now, man, this is a real thing. I don't know, man. I'm a little shaky. Like I had the Sixers winning in 7, right? So for that to happen, you expect the I mean, it should be 1-1.
Yeah.
Really, it should be. But I was expecting the Sixers to win probably in 7. But right now I'm a little nervous. Like I don't know if that's going to happen. Like I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't see them winning in New York. I don't see, like you said, like we talked about, 81% of the offense in the fourth quarter ran through 2 players. I don't see it. I mean, but they may win a couple games. I mean, who knows? But I don't see.
Keith, you just doing the Debbie Downer thing this morning, bro.
I don't know if they can. I mean, they when you start complaining against the refs and all that stuff in game 2.
Yeah, but they had to. They had to lodge that complaint. I honestly think here's how I see it, Keith. I think that they made their biggest correction on the boards. Now, can that happen? Can they continue that? I don't know, because if these teams are who they are, the Knicks will go back to pounding them on the glass. I think they can remedy some of that. I think they can remedy some of that by putting Paul Reed on the floor. alongside Joel Embiid, particularly if you're not getting anything from Tobias. Although you are getting rebounding from Tobias, I can't just bang him over the head. But I tell you, somebody who doesn't share your negativity, bro.
Who?
Joel. You were in the locker room last night when he said Joe was like, "Look, we are the better team. We are the better team. We are going to win this thing." And he looked despondent. So, hey, man, if you looked that despondent, I haven't seen him look that dejected since the loss against Toronto, the bounce game. So, what's that cliche? It's not.
I don't know if he was despondent or he ain't want anybody to look at his eye, really.
You think he was protecting? He ain't putting those white shades out?
He had the black ones on.
The black ones.
Yeah.
But you know what they say, Keith? It's not a series until the home team loses. And in this situation.
Well, you think the home team going to lose this weekend?
I think it's going back to New York tied up. And remember, I picked New York to win the series. I picked New York because I still think New York will win the series. But I'm going more towards 50-50 because Joel, even though he doesn't have his lift and he's obviously limping late in game, he's limping during long stretches of the game. I think there's a possibility. I think they get these next two in Philly. I really do. Philly fans got to get behind them. All that FMB, all that uncouth jackass acting that the New York fans did yesterday. Well, the Philly fans got to come out.
Shit was crazy, dude. They act like, dude. That shit was. It was crazy. The first game, they was out there burning Joel Embiid jersey. Like they won the Super Bowl, dog. I was like, act like y'all.
I think you just brought up the reason why New York fans are so angry. You would be angry too. We know football is king, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if your teams had drafted Zach Wilson and Daniel Jones and said, "This is your future at quarterback," you'd be furious too. You'd be so. And the draft is what, in 2 days from now? It's just kind of like it's just a confluence of things now that are making these New York animals furious, man. That was totally uncouth. That whole FMB, man, totally uncouth.
He was like, "Come on, bring it."
Yeah. So I think Philly fans need to go out there and be like, F. Brunson, he looks like Prop Joe from the Wire.
You think they're going to do that to him because he got that Villanova tie?
I don't care. Hey, man, let's be real, man. For years and years, Philly people didn't even include Big Five among Philly teams. And we still, although they were part, they saw that line of demarcation. Y'all out here on the main line. Yeah. And then when they started winning, they climbed onto the whole Villanova thing. So I do think that getting back to the 76ers, I do think that they can. I think they can pull this off. I think they can get it to 2-2. But they got to be tougher. They have to be tougher than they were.
We'll see, man. We'll see. I don't know, dude. When you start blaming the refs and all that. And
yeah. But in this case, it was warranted. I think it was warranted in this case. But you got to put that behind you, And Maxey said it at the presser. We got to put this behind us. We got 48 hours to get our stuff right. Okay. And Joel's making promises, man. He's making promises. I'll take that, man. But he got to come out. He has to come out and put a monster on that bum of a front line that they have. Because they got a bunch of Palookas and Joes on that front line that can grab offensive rebounds. And granted, Hardenstein did play pretty well last night. But those guys are basically mush players, man.
But Hartenstein always plays them well, though.
Because
Hartenstein was 7 for 8 with 14 points.
Yeah, that physical, but he ain't going to do that on Thursday. That's not happening on Thursday. He knows it. His mother and father know it. His woman knows it. It's not happening on Thursday.
He said his mother and dad is one.
The whole posse knows it. All right, son. Yeah, you had the game of your life.
We'll see. But is Joel Embiid going to step up in the fourth quarter?
Well, that's the big question. He has to because he promised. Listen, he's promised. We can't be promising people we're going to win with a better team and not show up. And that's, this isn't social media. This is the real world, brother.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but see,
well,
them sound bites get old after a while.
they
People
get
just
old.
throw 'em
They
out.
get old.
They throw them out. But look, y'all.
They don't get old if they lose. If they lose, they.
I know. Look, y'all. This was a good podcast, a lot of discussion, but we want to thank y'all for listening. We want to thank y'all for making Locked On 76ers the first listen of the day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. I'm Keith Pompey. To my right hand, man, John Mitchell. We want to thank y'all for listening and have a great day. Peace.
Have a good one, y'all.